We live in a time where trauma language is everywhere. People talk about triggers, nervous system states, shutdown, hyperarousal, and stored stress. Psychology explains how overwhelming events alter brain chemistry and bodily response. Many assume scripture speaks only to belief, while science speaks to biology. That separation is artificial. The Bible repeatedly describes regulation patterns long before modern terminology existed. The central mistake most people make is attempting mental renewal while their physiology remains in alarm. They try to replace thoughts while their body is still braced for danger. That sequence fails because a threatened nervous system deprioritizes reflection. When stress rises, the amygdala increases activation and survival pathways dominate processing. Blood flow shifts away from executive regions. Interpretation narrows toward threat detection. In that state, truth feels distant, even when it is understood intellectually. The issue is not lack of faith. The issue is unresolved physiological activation. 1 Kings 19 provides a precise model. Elijah experiences threat immediately after intense confrontation. He runs into the wilderness, isolates, collapses under a tree, and asks to die. This is not moral collapse, it is nervous system exhaustion. Fight has ended, flight has depleted, freeze begins. Now observe the intervention sequence carefully. All at once an angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat." 1 Kings 19:5 NIV. No correction is delivered, no theological reasoning is offered. The first intervention addresses biology. He sleeps, he eats, he rests again. Physical restoration precedes instruction. Only after stabilization does direction come. The order is not accidental. Regulation precedes renewal. Scripture consistently addresses embodied distress directly. Psalm 32:3 says, "When I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long." Silence represents internal suppression. Suppression manifests physically. Proverbs 17:22 states, "A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones." The writers connect internal state with structural consequence. Modern psychophysiology confirms chronic stress alters immune function, digestion, and muscular tone. The Bible described the same pattern through lived observation. This reveals the mechanism. Cognitive transformation requires nervous system capacity. Capacity requires safety. Safety begins with physiological regulation. Romans 12:2 instructs, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Transformation implies restructuring. Restructuring requires energy availability in executive circuits. Executive circuits require reduced threat signaling. Without regulation, renewal remains theoretical. Many memorize verses while remaining physically tense. That tension limits integration. The body must experience safety for truth to embed. Therefore, the sequence must be corrected. Regulate first, renew second. Here is the controlled action. For the next 21 consecutive days, begin each morning with 5 minutes of structured regulation before digital input or conversation. Sit upright with both feet grounded and shoulders relaxed. Inhale through the nose for 4 seconds. Exhale slowly through the mouth for 6 seconds. Longer exhalation activates parasympathetic response through vagal pathways. Repeat this breathing cycle 10 times with full attention on pacing. After the 10th breath, read Psalm 23 verse 1 out loud once in a steady tone. "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing." Speak slowly enough that each word aligns with relaxed respiration. Vocal pacing reinforces neural safety signals. Hearing your own calm voice strengthens associative encoding. Auditory repetition increases retention more than silent reading.
Slow speech combined with controlled breath creates dual regulation. Neuroscience confirms extended exhalation reduces heart rate and improves heart rate variability. Improved variability correlates with stress resilience and emotional stability. Scripture supplies structured language that reinforces provision and safety. Do not change the verse. Do not extend the exercise beyond 5 minutes. Consistency builds predictability. Predictability signals safety to the nervous system. Around day 7, morning tension may decrease slightly in intensity or duration. Around day 14, recovery time after stress shortens measurably. You may still experience stress, but baseline restoration becomes faster. By day 21, seated posture and slow breathing begin triggering calm automatically. That automatic response indicates conditioning has occurred. Conditioning forms new default pathways. Trauma pathways were built through repeated exposure to threat. They weaken only through competing repetition of safety. This is not suppression of memory, it is recalibration of baseline arousal. Many attempt to confront traumatic memory directly without prior stabilization. That overwhelms capacity and reinforces fear circuits. Modern therapy sequences grounding before exposure for this reason. Scripture modeled grounding through rest and nourishment before revelation. Psalm 34:18 states, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted." Closeness communicates presence. Presence lowers perceived isolation. Reduced isolation lowers threat perception. Lower threat perception decreases cortisol release. Decreased cortisol allows cognitive flexibility. Flexibility supports renewal. The Bible does not command immediate performance during collapse. It demonstrates regulated restoration. When you pair slow breathing with Psalm 23 verse 1 daily, you create a neurological association between safety language and parasympathetic activation. Over repetition, recalling the verse later in the day triggers slower breathing reflexively. Reflexive slowing indicates neural pairing has formed. Neural pairing is measurable through reduced reaction time to stress. Track how quickly your body settles after irritation or anxiety. If stabilization becomes faster across weeks, adaptation is occurring. Measure morning resting heart rate if available. Observe whether it trends downward slightly over 3 weeks. Notice whether muscle tension upon waking decreases. These are observable indicators. The objective is not emotional intensity. The objective is reduced reactivity speed. Reduced speed changes behavior outcomes automatically. When stress no longer escalates as quickly, decision quality improves. Improved decisions reduce secondary stress. This creates upward regulation cycles. Consistency determines dominance. Missing days interrupts installation. Maintain the exact sequence for 21 days before evaluation. Avoid adding additional techniques during this period. Overcomplication disrupts conditioning. The mechanism functions through repetition and predictability. Your nervous system responds to what is repeated most consistently. You are already conditioning it daily, either toward threat or toward stability. The difference lies in structured input. 5 minutes appears small, but repetition across 21 days equals 105 minutes of directed regulation. That volume is sufficient to influence baseline arousal patterns. Continue beyond 21 days if improvements persist. Regulation builds capacity. Capacity allows renewal. Renewal supports transformation without force. Follow the order demonstrated in Scripture. Stabilize physiology, then engage cognitive instruction. Repeat daily, observe change in response speed. The system is already active. Direct it intentionally.